Wigan Warriors defeat the Leigh Leopards by 36 points to 28. This is what rugby league is all about. Smack my bum, call me Judy. Incredible play from both sides. Really enjoyed this one on Friday night. I'm sure you did too. Let's unwrap what was a sensational night of rugby league football at the Brick Community Stadium. It started with a simple try for Liam Marshall. He's fifth of the season. He's slightly behind the curve this year, but that will do his confidence no harm at all. And then straight after that, a very, very, very nice try indeed for Jake Wardle, his ninth of the campaign. Jive field running through at will. Here, Jake have a simple score. Beautiful. And those two tries were too easy. They were too easy. 10 minutes into the game, you're thinking, you know, Wigan, Leigh backing up from the Warrington semi-final. This could be quite painful. And then, oh yes, the wrecking machine himself, testing you with strength and determination. Boom! Have a little bit of that. There was bodies flying all over the place. Tessie was not to be denied. It's 12-6. It's game on. But then Bevan French, he did this twice during the game. This was the first. When Leigh thought they were backing it 12-6, up pops Bevan French with a beautiful little ball to Adam Kieran, where Kieran couldn't cock it up, quite frankly. In he goes, no problem whatsoever. It's 18-6. And then there was a couple of controversial moments in that first period. Let's talk about them. The first, I mean, I have to say, the officials' commentary, the way that they were describing things, left a lot to be desired. Have you ever heard a penalty because markers are too deep in your days? I certainly haven't. And I think that probably wound up the Leopard fans, so much so that the Junior Incember try probably made them go off the stratosphere. Let's unpack the Junior Incember try. First of all, Harry Smith kicks the ball. He does not run forward, so he does not play anybody onside. Hold on, Wigan Warriors fans, I'm coming to it. So he doesn't play anybody onside, but Marshall on the left wing and probably Wardle, but certainly Marshall is onside. Marshall gets ahead of Junior Incember, who is offside, and plays him onside. So Marshall's run has played both Junior Incember and Wardle, if we want to be ultra critical or make sure that we're clinical in our description here on Super League Raw. It plays both of those two players onside. That's the rule. He was behind the kicker. He's ran forward. He's played them onside. Then there's the talk about in the 10. When the ball bounces, and that's the key bit here, the ball bounces. When you stop the video on the ball bouncing, Junior Incember is 20 meters. Let me say that again, 20 meters from that bouncing ball. So not only has he been played onside, he doesn't have to give the 10 because the ball bounced 20 meters and actually bounces in his direction and Wardle's direction. So don't get me wrong, it's a try. I'm going to say it here on Super League Raw. It is a try. However, because of the commentary by the video ref, he's passive. That's the word. He's passive. No try scorer can be passive. That's the key element here. He didn't have to say that. If he'd have described it the way I've just described it, no problem. But I think Leigh Leopards fans were filthy because when they heard the word passive, he scored. He can't be. Even I fell into that trap, I have to be honest. And then, of course, what happened at the play the ball where you're too deep. You know, these things leave really bad taste in people's mouths. So I get it. But Junior Incember's was a try. The worst try that Leigh conceded on the evening was to Kate Cuss. You know, you can't be doing that. I remember a few years back, I think it was either Chris Hill or maybe it was Adrian Morley who did something very, very similar at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. You know, you've got to wrap the hands up. You've got to wrap them up that close to the line. Fair play to Cade Ellis. That was a wonderful, wonderful moment for him personally because it showed great game smarts and exactly where he was on the field. So, you know, you can't knock Cade Ellis. I thought it was an outstanding piece of play from him. But the Leigh Leopards will be filthy about that, and rightly so, because it was a really, really poor try to concede. But then came the life raft. Oh, yes. Come on. Let's talk about Leigh's second try. It was a thing of beauty. Get your canvas. I mean, you know, we've seen so many rough sketch, but artists always do a rough sketch before the masterpiece, and this was a masterpiece of a try down the left hand. Bailey Hodgson. Oh, yes. Evasive. Ooh, yeah. You know, get your hands on me if you can, boy. He creates the space. Then he goes through the hands. It comes to his pappy. Lovely little short ball. In goes Joffa for his first try. Oh, yes. A try from Joffa, who is offer for the Leigh Leopards with what a try. Oh, yes. Beautiful stuff. And yet, again, you know, Dave Woods, I mean, have you seen him? I don't know if he's called out a Bevan French yet, based on his commentary. Again, does me head in. There's, you know, all of those players, 34 players played a game of rugby league, and they whacked Liverpool over Bevan French. Bevan French had a good game. He had two critical moments in the game as well. I'm not saying that, but come on, please. I mean, that was outstanding outstanding. And then you've got John Wells going, I think Jake Wardle's maybe saved a try. Shut up, Wellesley. It was a beautiful moment for the Leigh Leopards. It's 28-12. And even though you're thinking at half-time, probably game over, you certainly thought it was game over after Kane Ellis' try. Out come the Leigh Leopards in their second half. Oh, yes, their knives were sharp and they were ready to go and cook. They were going to slice. Here we go. I'm talking of slicing. In goes Ethan O'Neill for a brace within 8 minutes. It was lovely stuff on the right edge from the Leigh Leopards. And now it really is game on 28-22. And the Leigh Leopards are saying, oh, how's your nerves, ladies and gentlemen? One thing's for certain, some of our members, Craig Forth especially, was sweating like a pig in a bacon factory at that point. Don't you worry about that. Anyway, back comes Bevan French. Oh, yes. I mean, again, it happened at 12, at 12-6. It now happens at 28-22. Every time the Leopards got within 6, up pops Bevan French. And that flip pass to Eckersley, magnificent. So nonchalant. He is a Rolls Royce. Let's be absolutely clear. Boom, have a little bit of that, Mr. Eckersley. Over you go. And all of a sudden, again, the bubble burst. Leigh had the momentum, and that just, gets the bubble burst. And, then in goes Leigh in for another try. It's now, 36-22. It's probably a step too far for Leigh, albeit a nice consolation try for Romain Trout, who, let's be fair, Mr. Trout is having a very, very good season indeed. I mean, look, the stats couldn't have been closer. It's 50-50 possession. There's one completed set in it. I mean, it really is quite frightening. In terms of run meters, ball run meters, Wigan had the most, 1,579, but Leigh got 1,430. The post-contact meters, there was, I think, something like, let me just do the maths very, very quickly, about 12 meters in it. Unbelievable. Tackle busts even 37 apiece. Missed tackles were even 37 apiece off the back of that. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. You go down it and you're thinking, this is really interesting. I mean, in terms of, you look at the penalties in this game, because I do know that there's a lot of Leigh Leopards fans out there who felt that they were overly penalised. They only were penalised 3 times. I mean, again, in live play, it does seem a lot. I mean, again, the 6 again seem to be going the way of Wigan. I think there's no doubt about that whatsoever. But in terms of penalties, it was 3-2 to the in the favour of the Wigan Warriors. They had the least on that. But like I say, it's just a really good game. I mean, I don't know about you. Roll on, Battle of the Borough 3 in July, the decider. Where are you going to be? Well, if you're not going to be in the stadium, yeah, you're going to be watching that, aren't you? What a game. I mean, these two have delivered up 2 wonderful games of rugby league. One apiece, outstanding stuff. Really, really good. Let's talk about a couple of other things in this, the injuries. First of all, so relieved to hear that Zach Eckersley is okay. Crusher tackle did seem a lot in it to me. Obviously, it looks bad because he goes off on a stretcher. But when you look at it, it doesn't look awfully bad. Sometimes, I mean, how many times have we seen players go down with MCL, ACL injuries, and it's like, wow, sometimes it's the innocuous ones that are the worst ones. Maybe something's pinged, I don't know. It didn't look as bad as some of the other crusher tackles that we've seen over the years. But what is absolutely fantastic is that Zach Eckersley is okay, an incredible young man, massive future in the game. We wish him our very best wishes. Hopefully he'll be back on a rugby league field very, very soon. And then there's, of course, Gaz O'Brien. I'm really concerned for Gaz O'Brien, and I'm sure the world of rugby league is. He has had so many concussions in his career. Here comes another one. It comes a point where, you've got to be fearful for him. Gareth is our next in conversation guest. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. That's coming up at the end of May. And I'll be asking him about his self-care because, quite frankly, I think all of rugby league are concerned for Gaz. He has had quite a lot of hits over the years. And, of course, he's got to consider his career outside of his life, outside of rugby league as well. So, yeah, Gaz O'Brien, one to keep an eye on there. Back to the game. Look, I mean, what you've got. First of all, the superlatives. You've got to give Leigh credit. You really, really do. And the Be the Royal Brigade, very, very proud of the team. They backed up on a 5-day turnaround? A 5-day turnaround. The game against Warrington at the Totally Wiki was a bruising affair. That was a, no quarter given game, as was this. So for them to have enough energy in the tank says a lot for me about their fitness. Adrian Lamb will come out of this upset that they didn't get the 2 points, but we'd be very, very proud of the way in which they went about it. And don't forget, there's a few players, I mean, certainly like Joffa. They've got young Hodgson, who's been outstanding at fullback. There's still, players in that team that are learning the systems, who are still maturing as Leigh Leopards players. So, at this moment in time, I think Adrian Lamb will be very, very proud indeed of what his team delivered, especially in that second half. When the game seemed to be gone, they came out really up for the fight, and they did put Wigan under a lot of pressure. As for Wigan, look, Wigan are 6 games from 6 in Super League. They're not going to be worried. They're getting the results. It's not knockout football at this moment in time. But I think what Matt Peake will be very concerned about is the way in which they've gone about the business business in the last 2 games. You know, an under strength Warrington Wolves really did put them under pressure. On another 5 minutes, they could have nicked that one. I think a lot of Wigan Warriors fans felt that the momentum was with Warrington at the end of that game, and they could have nicked that one. And in this one, the game seemed to be put to bed. Certainly when the Cade Ellis try went in, even at half time, really, you know, you don't see Wigan Warriors, you know, at 28 points to 12, really starting to worry too much. But they did, because Leigh came back and said, right, you know, we're going to have a go at you. And I think what you've got to consider here as Wigan Warriors fans is, are they putting the cue in the rack too early? What's going on there? Very un-Wigan-like. So there's a lot there to be considered for Matt People. Look, the bottom line is this. You know, the second in Super League, they were top for 24 hours. Was it 24 hours? I'm losing my days, yes, for 24 hours. They were top of the league for 24 hours. They're 6 from 6. They're in great, great form. No doubt about it. But there's just little things there at this moment in time that they need to work on. And I'm sure Matt Pete will be looking to do that as well. Outstanding. Right, let's get into the 3, 2, 1. Who are we going with? Well, the first point I'm going to give, and you know me, I like my middle units, but I also like young players as well. And I've got to give a point to Bailey Hodgson. I think Bailey Hodgson, to go to the Brick Community Stadium as deputy fullback, he's having a great, great season. He really did play very, very well. 175 metres from 22 carries. He played really good out of backfield. 7 tackle busts. He's only a slight lad. He got through 7 tackles on the night. 7 tackle busts. Incredible stuff from him. And for me, even though he doesn't get the assist for the Joffa try, it was his genius. It was his running, his twinkle toes on the left-hand side that created the space for that to happen. So I've got to recognise Hodgson. I really, really do. So he gets a point. I'm going to give 2 points to Bevan French. His stats aren't out of this world. They're really not. But that's not the point. He was the game changer. Like I've said already, at 12-6, Leah back in it, up pops Bevan French. At 28-22, Leah back in it, up pops Bevan French. That's what quality players do. They just pop up at critical moments in the game, whether scoring tries or making tries, and they kill off the opposition. That's what Bevan French did in this game. That's why he's getting 2 points from me, because those, for me, are 2 defining moments in this game. The 3 points I'm giving to Edwin Ipape of the Leigh Leopards, because without Ipape, I don't think they're as close in this game. This, for me, was the dream team, Edwin Ipape, up against the Wigan Warriors. You can't come up against better opposition than that. And he was brilliant from dummy half throughout the game. 2 assists on the day. His tackles, again, on point. 22 of them, some of them absolute bruisers that only Edwin can deliver on a rugby league field. 10 runs for 117 metres. 6 runs from dummy half. Nobody runs more from dummy half than Edwin Ipape in Super League. I thought he had a great, great game and fully deserving of our man of the match. Without Edwin Ipape, this game isn't as close, and Wigan probably have a very easy night at the office. What are you making me 3-2-1? Do you agree with that? Do you agree with me? This was sensational rugby league football. We could all see this type of thing day in, day out. Can't wait for July. Can't wait. I mean, get your tickets now for the Leopards then, because they're going to come at a premium, because everybody's going to want to be in that ground. That is going to be a game of absolute class, quality, everything on the line. The decider of the battle of the Boys. Of course, they might meet later on in the playoff elements, but as far as the regular season is concerned, the trilogy is going to be complete in July. Leigh Leopards fans, get buying your tickets now. I, for one, cannot wait for that. That's been In the Sheds. Wigan Warriors 36, 6 from 6. And, of course, the Leigh Leopards 28. A fine, fine effort. We will be back with more In the Sheds.